and level 1. All the things are grouped. Let me group into this manner. Ungroup first of all. Clear the outline. Group. See, in the column wise, you can see this group like this. Okay, this is a one group which I have selected. So whatever the range you will select, you will be able to see that one. Okay, in the column wise or the row wise grouping you can put. So here, what I can do, I can select this one. Here, we can just go for the subtotal also. Okay, this is a grouping. Grouping is basically that I just need to make this range as a one. Okay, for example, this range I want to make it as a one group, so I can just go for this group and I say the column wise group example. Okay, so if I say the column wise group, so you can see there is a one line. If I collapse this, see this one, so this is a grouping. Okay, now, if I just go for the subtotal, and most of the reports you will receive in the subtotal also. So what happened in the subtotal, if you just go for that, and I want the subtotal on the basis of which column? It is asking na sum. So I want plastic, food, liquid, others. I want to make the sum of that. Okay, for each store name. And now once I just click on that, see, you are getting the three levels data. In the one level, you are getting the grand total. In the second level, you are seeing that in which store, what is the total sales has been done, right? And in the third level, you will see overall data. If you are in the second level, for example, I'm into this one, and now I want to see how many results do we have for the easy day. So if you see the plus sign here, if you click on this one, it will open all the easy day records. Can you see this summarized data? This is easy for user to understand or not? Yes or no, everyone?
Yes.
Right? So this is the grouping and subtotal. Okay. This one. Okay. And now here, I just need to show you the some macro recording. Okay. So macro is basically what? Macro is basically the step-by-step recording, which is done by the user in the Excel. Okay. Like if you perform anything into the Excel, and if you want to, uh, repeat that activity and want to automate that activity, so you have to use this macro. So for the macro, first of all, your file needs to be saved into the XLSM format or XLSP. These two formats are supported by the macro, these two. Okay, so for example, let's take a small macro. I want to record the macro that I want to copy this data and I want to paste into this K1 cell. Okay, so for macro, I will just go into the view. There are multiple ways. Okay, and from here I can go for the record macro. This is a one way. Second, in the developer tab you can see the macro. Okay, then the third way is you can just go for alt mr, which is a shortcut key. Okay, so I can give the name of the macro here. For example, I say copy underscore paste. Okay, macro also doesn't allow to give the space and any special characters. Okay, the shortcut key, this is not mandatory first of all, but shortcut key, if you want to give it, the shortcut key means if you want to run your recorded macro by pressing any shortcut key, then you can give it. But remember that one, you should not provide that kind of a shortcut key which you generally use. Okay, which you generally use. Like for example, if I say the C, so control C. So control C you use for which purpose?
Copy.
Copy. So in this, when you will press the control C, na, it will not copy the data. It will overwrite it and it will execute your macro. So First of all, this is not mandatory, but if you want to give it, then give that kind of a shortcut key which you generally doesn't use. Okay, like Control Q or Control Shift Q, like this. Okay, and now if I just press OK, see, I'm able to see the stop recording now. It means it is into the recording mode now. Whatever I will do, it will start recording. So like I pressed on A1 cell, I copied this data, I pasted on K1 cell. Okay, then I press the escape key. Okay, here I selected this range. I want to give the border, so I clicked on this border and I clicked on A1. Suppose this activity I have done, and now my activity is done which I want to perform, and it stop recording. Now if you see, I'm removing this, and what shortcut key we have given? Control Shift Q. If I press Control Shift and Q, see, can you see on the K1 cell my data is pasted and my data is into the border itself? Can you see that one?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And now you can
Yes.
also run your macro by assigning on a button. Okay. So any of the button, any image, any shape, or in the developer tab, in the insert, this first button you can also use. Okay. Or in insert, for example, I am taking any of the shape like this rectangle, and I say run macro. Okay, any name you can give to your button. It's up to you, meaningful name. Then to assign a macro, do the right click on this button, go for the assign macro. You will be able to see all the recorded macro. Can you see the copy paste macro? Right? This name I have given. Na? Click on the OK. Now, if I click on the button, see, it is executed or not? Earlier, there was no data on K1. See, I'm removing. There is no data on K1. I'm clicking on button. Look, right? If I'm increasing my data, for example, here, and now if I run this, see, it is in the border. Why? The reason is that because when I have recorded the macro, I have selected the cell from K1 to K5, right? So now I need the border here also. So if you just go for the recorded macro, if you want to see that, go into developer, click on this Visual Basic or press Alt F11. And here under this module, go into module 1. Okay, let me, okay. Under this module, in your sheet name, you can see the sheet name, file name, and here module 1. Double click on that. This is my recorded macro. See, shortcut key this I have given. And can you see, this is a K1 to till where I want to fill the border? K1 to
5.
K5. Now if I say, if in additional, if I want to increase like K1 to K15, so I can change it 15. Okay, and save it. So if you'll just save it, okay, if you, as I told you that if you want to save it, then you have to save into the Excel SM. Okay, if you will save into Excel, na, your code will go away. So I'm save, once I do Control S, it is asking me to continue saving a macro. Click on yes. I said yes. Oh, not into this one. Otherwise the code will go away. Okay, let me save that. And I am saving into XLSP. My code will here. Okay, I have changed that 5 to the 15. Okay, now I am running this. Now see, the border is coming till the 15 range or not? Tell me. K1 to K15.
Right.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Yes.
This one. Okay, so any of the activity. Okay, now this time it will just go for record, it will just go for pasting this data on K1 cell every time. But now suppose if I want that, suppose if I select the D1, my data should paste it on D1. If I select the C1, my data should paste it on C1. If I select the M1, it should paste it on M1. I want that one. So for that, you can use this use relative reference. Firstly, click on that and then go for the recording macro. I clicked on that. and I say copy, paste macro. Okay, and click on OK. Now, here I am copying the data. I am pasting here. And once my data is pasted, I am putting this border. That's it. Okay. And I will stop the macro. Okay. This one. Now you can see I'm just creating a button. You can copy that button. Right click, Control C and Control V. And I'm just giving the different name. Okay. Run macro, use relative reference. Okay. And right click, assign the macro, and this one. Okay. Now I am selecting C1 cell and clicking on this. Okay. So see here it is taking this offset, this range. Okay. That your cursor should be on the A1 cell. So here, see, this time this kind of a error will occur, but it says active cell. From the active cell, I need to go for this -2, 2 and this one. Okay, so I can just go for this. I can remove this. I can add it the code. Okay, now run this. So see, on this N1 cell, I have selected. So on this N1 cell, this is pasted one. Okay, and you can change that one also, because when you just go for that one now, you can see 0, 13. 0 means the same row and the 13 column. So from A1 to, if you go for the N column, so this is what? This is a 13 column or not? Tell me. This is a 13 column or not? Right?
Yes.
You can
Right.
add, you can edit the macro, so you do not need to write any kind of a code. You want to change it something, you can change it. Okay, you can change the K1 to M1, K1 to L1, anywhere, wherever you want to go for, you can. So this code automatically has captured by this macro. But make sure your file should be saved either into the XLSM format or in XLSB format. It means when I'm saving this file, these two extension are supported by the macro. Excel macro enabled workbook and Excel binary workbook. These two only. If you will save the Excel file into the Excel, it will give you the pop-up. Please save your Excel file, this macro file into the Excel macro enabled workbook. Otherwise, the code will vanish. And if if you have clicked on OK, so whenever you will open that Excel file again, you will not be able to see that code. So you have to be very conscious, very careful when you are recording a macro. So macro is basically going to help you to automate your repeatedly task. Like for example, daily basis, I need to perform the data cleaning or something. So I can just go for that. Okay. And it's not about this one. I can use the formula and functions also. For example, suppose this process, I just want to automate. Okay. This process that here I need to put this formula, here I need to put this formula and all. I can automate this process. Okay, I can automate this process. See, for example, I'm copying this and here. Okay, suppose I have this data and now I need the first name and the last name. Okay. So for example, this first name and the last name, I want to automate. Okay, F name and L name. Okay, so see how I will automate this process. Look, so here I will start the recording. Okay, and I say apply formula or anything, you can give the name. Okay, see, I clicked on D1, D2, and I'm putting the formula left. Okay, I said left, this is the cell, find space -1. Okay, enter. Then here I'm putting write text from the original length minus the first space. Okay, I'm getting this. Now I selected this and I am dragging till here. Okay, and done. Now I'm clicking this stop. Okay, now I'm removing this and see this I will get it from the button itself. Okay, I'm copying and pasting button and I say apply formula. Okay, and do the right click, assign macro, this one, apply formula wala macro. Okay, now I'm clicking on this. See, oh, I'm getting this one because I have just gone through this use relative reference now, so that's why. Because I have just used that relative reference now, what I was just showing to you. Let me delete all these buttons because I have activated that use relative reference now. So because of that. Let me delete. Okay. Now, so here I will just put the cursor where my cursor will be now. It will give the output here. I selected this and clicking on apply formula. So, okay. So it is showing this debug. Can you see this one? So remove this. Okay. This kind of a modification, we can do this. Look, I'm getting this output or not along with this formula. Yes or no? See, I'm clicking on apply formula. So I put the cursor here. I'm getting the output here. Okay. If I just put the cursor here, I will get the output here. Now, for example, if suppose this name are shifted to here, okay, and I need the first name and the last name on this Q on this cell. So I will select this Q2 cell and I will go here and I will click on apply formula. So look, till there, till the last record, the formula is dragged or not, right? Here you are getting this hash value because in the recorded one, we had the 15 records, right? Yes or no? If I drag this, getting the result. So use relative reference will help you wherever you want the result, you can go for. So anything, and if you want to see the code that what has been recorded, so go into Visual Basic and see, this is a formula. Look, right formula which I have implemented, left formula in RC1, R stands for row, C stands for column, right? And your formula will fill to this range, A1 to B14, right? And this green where you are able to see the single quotes. So all these are basically what? These are basically the comments. Okay. So basically macro you can use in that such kind of activity which you perform daily, hourly, weekly, or monthly, right? And that is basically the time taking activity. So you can just perform that, you can just record that activity, and by click on the button, you can perform that one. Like for example, you are receiving any raw data, and in that raw data, you have to perform some data cleaning, but to clean your data, suppose it is taking the 30 minutes. Every time you have to do that and it takes the 30 minutes. So rather than go for the manual every time for the 30 minutes, just record that activity one time. And once you click on the button, that your 30 minutes activity will cut down the fraction of seconds. Okay. So for this purpose, basically we record the macro. Is this clear, everyone?
Yes.
Excellent. Okay. So we have done all this stuff in the Excel. Okay, and I will share this file with the team, and along with that, I will also share the interview questions related, the practical questions, and these two practical questions, let me explain you. Okay, this is the interview questions. So I have just given you this data, and I need this kind of output. Okay, I have given you this data, and I need the country name from each and every data. Second, I have given you this data, and I need this kind of output. Like here, in the first name, if you have the first name, middle name, last name, all these things, it should come like this. If you have only the first name and the last name, first name and last name should come, middle name should be the blank. If you have only the first name, then the first name should come, middle name and the last name should be the blank. Clear?
Okay.
Okay. So this one. And along with this, I will also